Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Param Ishvaro Guratmeti Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyomabda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sava Vedanta Sedanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satguru Pranatoshmaham Om Shanti 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 Om Namaste. We are covering the 9th chapter in which Krishna is speaking in the behalf of Brahman, its true nature or nirguna nature, superior nature, howsoever we prefer. He describes the features of that nature, and we have seen several features or natures of Brahman, and one of them is that it's free from time and space. Time and space, of course, within it. It is beginningless, it's all pervasive, all those usual features that we know that helps us to do our Nididhyasana. When we do the Nididhyasana, we don't do the Nididhyasana thinking of the features of Brahman or the features of Lord Krishna as Brahman. We do our Nididhyasana, contemplate the fact that, those are my features as in my true nature as limitless, infinite consciousness. This is absolutely important for the conversion of indirect knowledge to direct knowledge. And we have seen that being free of time, Brahman is not the Saguna Isvara, because the Saguna Isvara is within time and space. And then Swamiji brought in the concept, the teachings regarding in which way this time, the time of creation, beginning of creation. So we know that the creation, this apparent projection, is beginningless. And then we have seen that the word Purna was used to describe the beginninglessness as a nature of Brahman. How so? Because there is only Brahman. From Brahman, everything comes forth, appears, and Brahman is the original cause, although Brahman does not do anything. It's just its mere presence allows the superimposition. So Purna significa means is a significant word meaning again and again, which is an indication of eternally or beginninglessly. Okay. None of this happens in time. Actually, time happens within this Maya process. This universe. The process of Maya in holding, projecting, and holding that projection. So, in fact, this process does not happen in time, but the time itself happens within this process. So that is why we are not able to talk about the concept of time beyond or before the beginning of creation or the Big Bang. So the whole process of evolution, let's say, or creation, origination, does not happen within the time we are used to deal with. We deal with time within space, within our human experience. But the entire process of origination and then retraction, origination, retraction, that is said here not to be within time, but it is outside time, because that is a feature of Maya, which many times Brahman or Krishna says, it's my Maya, which is no different from myself. So there is no causality. Therefore, this phenomenon is not in time, but time itself is within this phenomenon. Therefore, Krishna said, Puna, several times, O Arjuna. However, verse number 9, Arjuna, however, those actions do not bind me who am uninvolved in those actions and who remain like an indifferent person. That's nice. So it's pointing out to the nature of Brahman. The moment that we want to describe the nature of Brahman, we need to describe in human terms. So in experiential human terms. And one of them is the sense of being equanimous or indifferent. I used to attach another word to this, indifferent to the results, as a positive indifference. So if we say indifference, it means that we don't care. No, we have our preference, we care. And it's not a depression. They'll say, I don't give a damn. It's more like I'm positively okay with whatsoever comes. And he's pointing that aspect of Brahman as seen from the human perspective. All actions of this world, including the very actions of I myself, Krishna talking about his inferior nature. He's talking to Arjuna. However, action, including my own actions, in my saguna nature as Lord Krishna, I am me who I am uninvolved. And it means to say I am absolutely not really attached to those actions. I am the witnessing conscious principle. And that gives me the sense of freedom or detachment in regards to actions and its reactions. Looking from outside, it seems that this person is depressed or he has a sense of indifference. But this is a misinterpretation of the condition of Lord Krishna here as Brahman. So in this, Krishna talks about the final feature of Isvara with the sixth description of Brahman. He gives by way of answering a possible doubt. When the Lord says, I am the creator of the universe, the Lord seems to perform an action. And what is that action? The very production of the universe, it seems, that involves actions and its results, causality, and so on. If the Lord is Srishti Karta, I forgot Srishti, help me out, please.
Srishti creation?
Srishti
I think so. Yeah.
If the Lord is the doer of the creation, yes, it's a little bit funny. This, if he is the creator, the doer of the creation, well, the Lord will have karta. And if the Lord is karta, this must be karta. This must be what? Results of actions. And if the Lord is a karta, the word will have to become what? Abhokta. So what is tattva or sva? If you guys had the time to read and do some research.
I think that kartritva is doership.
Your pronunciation shows that. Yeah.
Kartritva.
You're a scholar.
No. And then what was the other one?
Well, no, tell me again. I was interrupting you. What is the meaning of this word?
Doership.
Doership. Ooh.
Whenever you put the twa at the end, it means like a ness, doerness.
Okay.
Or yeah. Doerness.
So he is not the really doer. He's not the karta. He's not the experienced enjoyer. A doer will help to become an enjoyer. And so you become enjoyer or suffer, as I like to put very often. As we do so, you become. And Lord must be in big trouble because he's responsible for all actions. No? If there was only proliant all the time, if this world, these people, all of these things were not here, present, manifest, we will not have any problem at all to face, of course. That's the so-called emptiness, void. But many people are here, experience variety of problems, all because of what? Because of creation. Yeah? So the question, the philosophical question is, why the heck God create this universe, create this planet, and living beings, living human beings? Whenever you have a serious problem, you ask the question, why did the Lord create all of this? Could he not kept quiet, just repeating the name of the Lord, repeating his own name? He could not remain quiet, and he creates this world with a lot of problems for all of us. So a lot of people come to this conclusion that maybe the Lord is he enjoys to see us suffering. What is the English word for sadist, or something like that? Maybe he enjoys seeing us suffering. Oh yeah, sadistic Lord. The Lord seems to be sadistic Lord, and if Lord is doing such an action, he will have to pay the price as well. So the Lord is within causality, karma laws, because he has a bad attitude and he does a creation just so that all jivas suffer. So this doubt may come for which Krishna, presents the answer. He says, I don't do things with any purpose at all. In fact, I don't do anything. I am akarta and abhokta. So we need to blame Mr. Maya. That's the next message, Somebody needs to be blamed. So Maya. Now, why Maya does that? James used to say he may be a pervert, Ishvara, Maya. So I'm neither the creator, nor the destroyer, nor the sustainer. I have no attribute to do anything, and none of these should be attribute to me. Therefore, Krishna, speaking the name of Brahman, he said, hey Arjuna, all those actions, Shristi, Laya, Kamani, which includes killing people. Okay, all karmas during one of these projections of the universe, all including violent killing people, karmas, such as killing your relatives on the other side of the battlefield, is the job of the Lord, which gives pain to so many people. So that is the assumption many people say. And if it is the job of the Lord alone, so therefore, this universe, even action taking place, some karmas do not bind me at all. So a little bit confusing. Laya akarta. So if he was the doer, he would be bound to the results and he could be blamed. But he's not the doer. So I want to know who is responsible. I don't know about you guys, but so we need to find someone to blame always. Later on, we're going to understand that there is no answer to that question. Furthermore, in the entire process, we have our degree of responsibility as well, because we suffer, but we love it, and we want more. Therefore, we don't do actions conducive to put an end to this game, Now the question is, what is the secret? Lord seems to do everything at the same time, but he has no karma, no karmas accrue to him. How does he manage to do actions without having to pay the price for karma? So again, he's talking about Brahman, Krishna, from the standpoint of Aham Brahmasmi. He's talking about that. And our Nididhyasana here must be, none of these actions have really to be accrued to me, do not accrue to me. So it has always to be taken to this perspective of our own understanding of our true nature. So I'm not bound by any karma. Okay, karmas, they happen sometimes good actions, sometimes wonderful actions, sometimes so-so actions, and here and there some, negative actions, but none of that I claim as my actions, So how are we going to resolve all these actions? We leave it all to Isvara. We leave it all to Isvara. Okay, so there is a body-mind here. It's moved by vasanas. Vasanas are going to produce good actions, so-so actions, sometimes some not very good actions, but I have broken up with identifying with the doer and the enjoyer. Therefore, I watch all of that as an spectator with a sense of indifference for the karmas unfold, the parabada. And remember that there is only parabada karma for the yoni. So the yoni is going to see its parabada unfolding, but he's not claiming my parabada. It's just Ishvara's parabada, the system, producing parabada, but somehow I gave up my identification with my inferior nation so that I can experience this freedom from karma, freedom from causality. So how the karmas do not account to me? The karma, how does one manage karma without getting hooked to actions and see results? So he does not give up karma as Brahman, but at the same time, he continues to do karma. I mean, huge contradictions, because Krishna and any one of us continue doing actions after self-knowledge, but at the same time, one does not feel bound by karma's actions and its results. But the karmas are done. Krishna is doing a lot of actions there, but he's not bound by actions and its results. This is to be really used to Nididhyasana within the context of our human experience. Once we take in this knowledge, we will be now experiencing this sense of detachment from my actions and my results that I no longer call mine, but it is Ishvara's systems, Ishvara's system, actions and results. But that does not compel anybody, any yoni, to stop doing actions. We try to reduce a little bit because we understood that it's meaningless to do action to get, results. But some actions we must do, such as cleaning the house if we are retirees, And we do actions, and but we are not attached to the action. There is a doer and a experiencer of the results. What's the secret? He gives the secret here. He says, I do not identify with these actions. I do not identify with the fruits of the actions. I'm not involved with actions, karmas, and its results, but yet karmas are still taking place. But it's the identification. The key of Vedanta is always like the identification with the body-mind subject to karma needs to be broken. And the identification with consciousness, which is free from all laws, including the karma, needs to be claimed and internalized. Therefore, if I have to get out of the shackles of karma, I need not to stop doing actions. Actions must continue. But what is to be handled? The abhinana, ahankara, mamakara alone. Well, so my actions, my results, my karma, my parabada, and so on. This has to be given up. And I had a conversation with someone in my Brazilian group last week, and the person was saying, so, okay, how do I do that? I need to break this identification, and I'm working hard. I'm just, I'm not identified. I'm only identified with my superior nature. And then you cannot force that disidentification with your inferior nature just by willpower or wishful thinking, So it's an entire process of assimilation of this knowledge is going to feed the intellect with conviction. The intellect, which is really, clear about that, and then it has no problem in letting go of this identification as the akarta and the abhokta. And once that identification is given up, and then we just wait until this shift of identification occurs. It happens sometimes suddenly, sometimes it happens gradually, from what I understand coming from other people as well. Therefore, Tasu Tamasu Asaktam. Translate, please, Lynn.
It means uninvolved in those actions.
Yeah, beautiful. And to begin with, this is again more of those benefits of self-knowledge, because that's what Krishna is doing. He's talking about so the features of Brahman, which is the features of the Yoni. Yeah, and Brahman does not have any feature to begin with, but one who understood I am that Brahman, everything is that Brahman, is going to experience certain qualities or features. One of them is vairagya, sense of indifference towards actions and its results, in uninvolvement. A detached person. From this, Krishna is giving the clue. Here Swami says, here Krishna is giving the clue for us. We also can continue to be involved in action. Said we also can continue to be involved in action, as said in the fifth chapter. So we also can stop being involved in actions or identified with actions as the arta and the doer. So this is the nididhyasana, is bringing the teachings about Brahman to the teachings about myself in my true nature. Therefore, abhinana tyaga is the secret. I forgot the meaning of the word tyaga.
Letting go.
Tyaga.
Letting go of pride and ownership and stuff.
Therefore, renouncing abhimana is the secret, the sense of doership, ownership, and abhoktruttvam. Not karma, not, again, sense of ownership of those actions and results have to be given up, not the actions itself. No? Actions cannot be stopped or renounced unless it is your nature to stop actions, such as Ramana did at the age of 17, 19. But for most of us, we are going to be doing some degree of action. The tendency is to do less action, but not even that we can say, because maybe Swami Shimayananda never did as much action as when he came down from the hills, the mountains, and started spreading the words of the Upanishad. So the actions are going to follow the nature of the body-mind-sense complex. And it's better that you follow the nature of this instrument which Isvara gave to you. Well, it's just the sense of ownership, doership, authorship of those actions, and enjoyership or sufferership of those results. Remaining detached, remaining without abhimana is called sakshi bhavaha. He gave us he's anticipated here the verse 10. Oh, this is the verse 10, huh? Okay, because he did not pull it apart. It's mixed up with the Sanskrit.
I looked at and found Swami Dayananda's translation, if you want it.
Please.
He says, the one who is together, who knows the truth, thinks I do not do anything at all, even while seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, walking, sleeping, breathing, talking, releasing, grasping, opening, closing the eyes, the person knowing full well that the organs are engaged in their objects. And I think some other person said the one who is together could be steadfast in karma yoga.
And what it means, I do not get the one who's together.
That's how Swami Dayananda started his translation, the one who is together, who knows the truth. And then some other interpretation was steadfast in karma yoga for that togetherness.
Okay. Okay, so that in that sense, karma yoga is being pointed as one of the best sadhanas to minimize or to dissolve the sense of authorship, doership, and enjoyership, as we just take the results as Isvara's will, and so on. And we allow the actions to take place in harmony with Dharma, with the spirit of offering. So Maya, because of me, the presiding principle, Prakriti, creates the universe of things and beings. Because of this reason, the universe resolves origin. But this does not seem to be related to the verse that you just shared with us, huh?
Yeah, that was in, that's true. That was in Swami Dayananda's verse 10.
Okay.
Interesting.
Maybe this refers to another
Huh.
Let me see here. No, 9:10 would be too much of a coincidence. No.
I think we should take the verses Swami P
Yeah,
gives it.
yeah, definitely, yeah. So, but I don't have it here before me. But remaining detached, remaining without abhimana is called sakshi bhavaha. Krishna explained here. Here, Arjuna, I do not willfully do anything in my presence, in the presence of this sakshi. Maya or metta does its functions. Therefore, Maya ajakshana, because of the presence of me as the presiding principle, exactly like the light that has pervaded this hall, the light illumines the hall, and the light helps in various actions that are taking place, beautiful analogy in the hall, but the light does not do anything, does not influence the type of action. There is some other principle here referred to as Maya, and the jivas with their actions that are going to influence the field, the Dhamma field. In the presence of the light, actions take place. Actions can be good, bad, or otherwise. So it's not going to affect the light. Again, this beautiful, wonderful analogy of light as this principle, this pramana, that illumines and reveals everything. such as consciousness, the pramana of the pramana that reveals, illumines, and reveals the world, with the help of a physical light coming from our sun. Remaining detached, remaining without Bhimana, is called Sakshi Bhavaha. And the Sakshi Bhavaha, Krishna explains, hey Arjuna, you do not do things willfully. So how you would interpret this willfully? Because we cannot do actions without a certain will or desire to do that action, So as Krishna himself says in other passage, he says, I am the desire in total, in non-violation of the Dharma, So I have a desire, and the desire is to serve. Isvara is to protect the Dharma and to teach and to do actions in harmony with Dharma. So I do not willfully do anything, okay? It means to say even my beautiful actions maybe, to sustain and help people, those are done by a different principle called consciousness, I don't own anything in my presence as consciousness, in my presence. This power of Maya produces actions and its results. So, from the standpoint of limitless consciousness, so of course we know consciousness does not do any action. It's akarta and abhokta. So, and then this action has to be attributed to the jiva, of course. So, but how are we going to put in words the situation of the jiva who understood that the jiva is not just the jiva, but the jiva is consciousness, So there is a desire, there is a desire to serve something which is Isvara, and I don't take any ownership or I don't take any pride or shame in regard to my actions. The actions happening through this body-mind, because I am that akarta principle. I am the presiding principle. This is beautiful. You see, when we take the analogy of the space, is again the same thing. It's a presiding principle, from where the other elements develop, and then infinite numbers of configurations dynamically appear, but there is a presiding principle there as space, such as the presiding principle as light. This light pervades everything. Without this light, the actions cannot take place, because without the light, our actions now would be very much helpful. I mean, people who are blind, they do actions, they find their way without having the vision, But for the sake of analogy, without light, we feel like, okay, now we cannot do anything, But because of presence of me, consciousness, as light, knowledge, exactly like the light that has pervaded this whole, illumining everything, and the light helps in various actions that are taking place. So in which way light helps, It not only reveals, but it helps, because without the light, the actions cannot be done properly, So many actions, most of our actions cannot be done properly, without light. The light does not influence the type of action, but without the light, actions do not take place. Consciousness do not influence the type of actions of the Jiva Atma, but without consciousness, no action takes place. So who is going to be influenced these actions is the Jiva himself. And the Jiva needs to understand the nature of Saguna Brahman and then Nirguna Brahman. As the knower of the laws and principles of the Creator, Saguna Brahman, Saguna Isvara, it's going to begin putting up an effort to do actions in harmony with these laws and principles, in harmony with Dharma, in conformity with the Dharma, in the first effort of doing actions, good actions, or to protect the Dharma, and so on. And then once this Dhamma Yogi gets the Aham Brahmasmi knowledge, and then it's going to be there just as this principle, this presiding principle, illumining and revealing the very actions, thoughts, and attitudes of the body-mind sense complex, is doing that, and it's influencing the actions, of course. It's not influence, it's helping, it's allowing the action to take place, but it's not influencing the action, because the influence has to come by Jiva's effort to do actions in harmony with the scriptures, in harmony with the scriptures in regards to Mithya, and in harmony with reality of Satyam, as presented by the scriptures. Anything from you guys? In the presence of light, actions take place. Actions can be good actions, and so on. Goodness and badness of the actions will not taint the light. Again, this is so important, because when we get this knowledge, we're still subject to some bad actions or bad reactions. Usually, bad actions usually are reactions, that due to the reactionary nature, emotional nature of those actions, sometimes it comes out not so good. Sometimes it comes out bad. But to see those things happen and to know that I'm free and independent of all these actions, however good or bad they are, I don't identify, therefore I'm not going to experience what? Pride and shame. No pride and no guilt. You understand? Why? Because I say, no, I understood the system. This body-mind has its vasanas, its impressions, its tendencies, predispositions. Sometimes an action may come like that. But I'm not the action, and I'm not the doer of the action. I am limitless consciousness, the light that allows this presiding a principle that without which actions and its results cannot be experienced. So I'm the witnessing conscious principle, witnessing the actions and the nature of those actions and the nature of inactions and the results of actions and inactions. And nothing touched me. And how we experience this? We experience really as vairagya, non-attachment, no identification with actions and its results. This is more like in terms of the results. Howsoever bad an action may be, you are not going to experience what? Guilt and inadequacy. You understand? So this is another way for us to measure the degree of our and quality and degree of our self-knowledge. You understand? Is when the actions come out in a way that if we would regret in the past, there is no regret. One of the things that I like to point out to Sylvia often is like, to the end, there's no point of regretting anything. You do good actions, you do bad actions, you make good choice, bad choice. When you make it, you never look back to take pride or shame. So there is no question of regretting anything, but there is always a question of, although I know Aham Brahmasmi as my nature, yet I would prefer to put actions in harmony with the Dharma. So therefore, this bad action does not go unobserved. It's observed and say, okay, one of those things came up again. Okay, I had that very, very extreme experience. Most probably shared with you. I still had my restaurant in Olympia, Washington, and I was opening. We used to open the restaurant at 5 p.m. And there were quite some people read in the front of the house or the restaurant. And then I started having a hot conversation that became an argument with my son, and then we started yelling. There was someone yelling at my part, but there was a disagreement, and then came a point I say, so we are not going to resolve this. No, I'm the boss, and we're going to do what I say. And then he went mad. And then there was this yelling, and some people in the front listening, and the back, there was the kitchen with a lot of employees there. And I stand there, and for the first time in my life, I had an experience of doing something very inadequate, and not feeling really guilt. And this was before Vedanta. And then my son, after some time, came out of his office. He ran to calm down there in the office. He opened the office and come there, and then I was still standing there in this central part of the restaurant. And then he asked me, "Are you not ashamed?" I told you guys this story. The story was so beautiful. "Are you not ashamed?" And I say to him, "No." "Oh my God, he's crazy. He's not ashamed." And then he looks at me, "And no, you are not enlightened," because at the time I was already giving such stories, you know. That was really funny. But anyhow, you start feeling like an ET, like why I'm not feeling shame or anything, you know? Because there was a certain degree of transfer of sense of identification from the doer of actions to the consciousness principle, witnessing principle. It's very, very, very nice and very, very different at the beginning, and then we begin getting used to it.
Yeah, you know, the most wonderful thing about the fruits of this study is how the self-doubt has just sort of settled. You know, just what a gift.
Very nice. And when you say self-doubt, what do you more specifically mean?
Question that there's the dispassion has grown enough so that I can see the doubt, but I don't own it. You know, does that make sense? I can see the habits of thinking that create doubt, self-doubt, self-denigration, like you say, guilt, right, or shame or something. But I see them, but more and more I don't own.
Yeah, you don't fall for that, and you stand as consciousness, free and independent, and everything. That's very nice. Yeah. So you don't. I mean, I understand you say you don't doubt the scriptures, and you don't doubt your self-knowledge or conviction. I am consciousness. This is not a philosophy. This is a fact, you know, and therefore I am experiencing this sense of dispassion, you know. I mean, very nice.
Yeah, it's really the fruit of being able to stand apart from the mind.
Yeah.
Whatever that mind's doing, you know, let it go. Interject if it looks dharmic, but otherwise, let it go.
If it's something negative, so to speak, you know, we take note. Yeah, but again, no identification with good actions and bad actions, good tendencies or good attitudes and bad attitudes. So when Krishna says "in my presence," what's the meaning of my presence? There is that sense of ownership there. That's a good inquiry. It does not refer to Krishna body mind. Krishna Sharira or Krishna body mind is what? The lower nature of the Lord. That is visible. So when Krishna says in my presence, he refers to what? The all-pervade consciousness, which is formless and attributeless, and it's untainted by anything that happens in the field of actions and reactions and results. That consciousness is here as me, in my presence. You know? My presence. So we do not need to have any fear to use this word, my presence. Once I understood that this my has nothing to do with the attributes of the ego that goes around saying mine, you know, mine. So this is consciousness. As consciousness, Krishna can say in my presence, in my mere presence, well, this world plays. This I is formless, it's beyond time and space, has no attributes, qualities, or properties. It's just light with space or consciousness. Prakriti means what? Matter and energy. So the most fundamental or subtle Prakriti is Maya, which was called Apara Prakriti in the 7th chapter, as we remember. So just as in the presence of electricity, every gadget will contribute fulfilling its functions. Electricity does not request the gadget to do a particular function. Electricity bless the gadget. The gadgets will do certain functions, such as cooling down the air or refrigerating the air. It's not the function as determined by the electricity, but the gadget does not function according to its nature. But the gadget does function according to its nature. If it is the bulb, the function of the bulb is to illuminate, as we know. If it's the mic, is to amplify voice. It's the fan, is to move air to produce a breeze. So according to the nature of the gadget, the functions will go on, but the electricity will be the same. Samanya. Yeah. So electricity, those analogies are wonderful for us to over and over look into our true nature, which is not really involved with any action or experience, you know. The actions and experience are not going to disappear. They are going to become more efficacious, and the experience are going to be more favorable, because you cannot be a yani without living in harmony with the Dharma field and other beings and so on. Therefore, the results are going to be more favorable. People are going to like you more and so on. But you are not doing anything, as consciousness. But the gadget, the body-mind-sense complex, is further purified by this Aham Brahmasmi knowledge, that the gadget will do a better function in the world. Okay? When there is a sattvic mind, it will do its function blessed by consciousness. A rajasic mind will do its function blessed or conditioned by Rajoguna. But everything is blessed by consciousness. A tamas criminal mind will do criminal actions, dominate, influenced by Rajoguna. The criminality is determined by the nature of the mind. The blame can never go to consciousness, the true nature of the mind. The blame cannot go to the consciousness principle, which is synonymous of God. So the true nature of the person is always full, whole, and complete. I'm doing the I don't remember. I think we are on the 12th chapter in Portuguese. Oh, I don't know. There is a passage here. I mix up things between our meetings and the meeting in Portuguese. But Krishna goes to the extent unfolding or commenting on certain passage, says that fundamentally everyone is a saint, everyone is so pure and beautiful, even the most worst criminal or the worst, perverted pedophile, and anything like that, anything very horrible that we hear in the news nowadays, still that person fundamentally is saint-like, is, it's beautiful. I think we saw it together, huh? Or not? Oh, it was in Portuguese. It was in my Portuguese. So there is a point in that. And the point is, what are we going to do with these horrible criminals? And then they have to be punished, yeah. But avoid hating the person, and then let's hate the crime. And then Swamiji says, and Krishna says as well, so don't hate even the crime. Don't hate, period, because the hate is going to affect the one who has experienced hate for anything. Don't hate neither the sinner nor the sin itself, Just look at that as a byproduct of profound spiritual ignorance. And the person is paying, and it's important that we punish such people, and sometimes punishment has to be violent, such as a death penalty, But fundamentally, we are all of the nature of God. So this is to be remembered, because people always ask this question. If God is in everything, how come there are criminal minds, and people doing such horrible actions? God does not determine the nature of thoughts and actions of the jivas. God enlivens the instrument, body-mind complex, depend upon the nature of the instrument itself. So we have this body-mind sense complex, instruments of action and experiences, And depending on the nature of this instrument, we're going to serve God or behave in opposition of God. We want to destroy everything that is beautiful in life. These people, they are anti-God nature, They have God nature, but they are, they violate any and all laws of God. They become materialistic, and they want to destroy religiousness or anything. So what we need to do as Jivatmas, we need to purify this instrument of actions and experience, because depending on the degree of the purification, this instrument is going to experience actions holding the Dharma or protecting the Dharma, sustaining the Dharma, helping people in the Dharma. We're going to be instruments of God, or we're going to be instruments against God. So therefore, the process of purification and refinement of the instrument is a must. It's a must. In fact, self-knowledge, from my take, does not occur in the mind of those who are not enough purified to the extent of even define Dharma. You understand? It's difficult for me to imagine that someone has a self-knowledge of any value if he is still living in violation of Dharma, the laws and principles of God. So God does not determine the nature of our thoughts and actions. Who is going to determine? Our instrument of actions and experience is going to determine. It needs to be purified. We have a free will, we have an intellect to help us to go through this process of refinement and purification, betterment of this body-mind-sense complex. We need to have good thoughts, good tendencies, good attitudes, good knowledge, to generate good thoughts and actions as a good contributor with a spirit of gratitude for the opportunity. Therefore, he says, Prakriti, the fundamental energy of Maya, the basic matter evolves, produces, projects itself, evolves in what? Jagata, the cosmos, the universe. So this whole universe consisting of the inert beings and mobile beings, immobile and mobile beings, some moving, some are stationary. Some of those moving, they are self-conscious. Those are the human jimbas, the only ones that, according to our knowledge so far, the entire creation of things and beings, inert and sentient beings. This is what projects or evolves from the Prakriti of Maya under the intelligence of the Creator Isvara. Therefore, Arjuna, because of my presence, sheer presence, the whole drama is going on. He represents, instead of play or lila, is drama. Because of my presence, the whole human drama is going on. That's why if the light goes off, let's hope that it does not, the drama stops. Even though the light does not play the role of a teacher, the light does not play the role of a student, light is not directly involved in the transaction between guru and disciple. The presence of light is absolutely required. So is consciousness, the principle without which nothing exists, nothing is possible. Vidyaranya Swami, a great Vedantic Acharya, wrote Panchadasi, devotes the entire chapter to give this example. Nataka Dipa Prakarana, the light of consciousness. There is a book that Ramji has published with the first 5 chapters, which inquire into the nature of existence, that has the light of consciousness and the cover, if you remember. So the God is like the light, does not play any role in the transaction, but the presence of consciousness of God is required, like the presence of the light for the transaction to take place. Therefore, Krishna says, in my mere presence, the entire universe, in my mere presence as light, as consciousness, as space, the universe evolves and revolves dramatically at times. So that means everything is in motion when he says revolves. All the planets are in motion. The entire solar system is in motion. The entire Milky Way. In fact, everything is violently moving, all because of my presence. Things are projected. It's so amazing to contemplate on this projection, this Mithya universe, because things are moving such a speed. Thanks God, the speed is relative to the observer, because the speed that the Earth turns around its center could throw us out into space so violently, But all due to my presence. If later on, please post the verse according to verse 10, according to in our group. Not knowing my higher nature as the great Lord of all beings, those people deluded. They deluded those deluded ones look down upon me who have taken a human form. Wow. So those extremely ignorant, materialistic, atheist, anti-God people are going to look down upon Krishna Guru just because it took human form. And nowadays people look down at sannyasis, swamis, yanis, according to Swamiji. We experience, he used to say that already 20 years ago, just imagine now. Now there is a huge decline, and sannyasis are seen as losers, suckers, people who do not contribute to society and so on. And God is seen as something obsolete. Not knowing my higher nature as the Lord of all beings, Krishna is saying, as Brahman, these people, these ignorant, spiritually deluded people, they look down upon me just because I appear like them in a human form. They can't see through the gross body, the food body, the matter body, the physical body. They can't see the divine behind or through any one of these configurations around us in nature or in the cities. Everything is designed by this supreme intelligence. So they see things as a namarupa. And every namarupa has to serve a purpose, which is what? To give me more and more and more satisfaction. So they don't like people talk about God, talk about self-knowledge and freedom. Okay. Silvia is traveling to Italy. I'm going to stay put there in my little piece of land. And I'm settling. I'm doing the last few things here, but I'm settling, and then we're gonna have our class from there. Okay. Anything else? Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Isvara Om Namaste. Brahmanji, Brahman, our very nature. Okay, we meet again this coming Monday. The great
Thank
willing.
Thank you.
Okay, many thanks, Salinda. Wonderful satsang.
Thank you. And we meet again.
Okay. Have a good weekend.
You
Bye
too.
now.